So I'm going to open my presentation with a question. It's probably a question you've seen before. So that question is, on a scale from 0 to 10, how likely is it that you'd recommend our products to a friend or a colleague? So this forms the basis of the Net Promoter Score. So based on the response to that question, we can classify a customer based on their level of happiness with the company. So for those that respond between a 0 and a 6, these people are known as detractors. So these people are relatively unhappy. They're at risk of leaving the company. Those people who respond with a 7 or 8 are known as passives. So these people are relatively indifferent. They're not particularly happy or unhappy. And people who give a 9 or 10 are known as promoters. And these people are relatively happy with the company and are likely to recommend their product, their company's product, to other people. So this essentially formed the basis of my project. So I spent 6 weeks with Virgin Media and trying to build a model that will predict this metric for each customer, which is known as the Net Promoter Score. So why is Net Promoter Score useful? Well, firstly, it allows us to identify the most unhappy customers. So again, these people are potentially at risk of leaving the company. So the company may want to, target these people with personalized discounts in order to retain their membership with the company, with their subscriptions. And secondly, it allows us to find the features that are most relevant in predicting a customer's satisfaction. So these, you can think of these as, customer loyalty drivers. So, what are the drivers for a customer being happy or unhappy? So in terms of the project, so I'm just going to give you a bit of what was within scope within my project. So to give you a bit of background, there was an existing baseline model that existed in place to predict the NPS for the customers. So I was tasked with trying to improve that or improve upon that existing model. Secondly, I was looking to build a model with some sort of explainability. So ideally, we'd like to have a much more limited set of features that would have much more kind of predictive power in explaining why customers are happy or unhappy. And thirdly is we place an emphasis on the super detractor class. So these are the people who are really unhappy. It's a subgroup within the detractor class, those who score between 0 and 2. So ideally, we'd like to kind of identify these guys more so than any other class. So just to give you a bit of background about the feature selection. So there were over 140 features in the baseline model, in the existing model. So again, I think a lot of these features were quite redundant in that they didn't add any kind of predictive performance or predictive ability to the model. So I was able to reduce down that feature set to roughly around 35 features without any loss in performance and model performance. So to give you some of the features that were kind of excluded. So we had, features like the number of Wi-Fi devices in a household. That was an irrelevant feature. We had, the amount people paid on their landline calls, the amount of time people spent watching the kids genre of channels were all kind of redundant features that didn't improve the model performance. Whereas on the other side, we had, features relating to tenure and, features relating to kind of the revenue that people were paying on their telephone bundle products were relevant. So just to give you kind of a flavor as to what was included. So in terms of the model approach, so essentially we have a reduced feature set at this stage. So I chose a multi-class logistic regression model on the basis of it, well, firstly, it kind of outperformed other models that I tried. And secondly, it's got some nice properties that allow explainability and interpretability. I'm going to use that for the classification prediction. In terms of the outcome, so the model will give Virgin Media some use in that it'll allow them to identify and engage with the super detractors without actually needing to get a survey scores. That's the whole point of the model. And secondly, it allows them to understand the drivers of customer loyalty, and that's because of the much more smaller amount of features and given the way the model is set up. And thank you.